That tube of toothpaste sitting on your bathroom counter. You trust it. Twice a day, you squeeze it out, expecting protection. But what if that familiar paste contains heavy metals poisoning your body, bacteria triggering infections, and chemicals linked to thyroid damage? Today, we expose 9 toothpaste brands you should never buy again. Coming in at number 9, we have Colgate Total. You have seen the advertisements. Colgate Total promises complete protection. 12 hours of defense against bacteria. Healthier gums, a smile you can trust. Sounds perfect, right? The kind of promise that makes you feel secure every time you reach for that familiar red tube. But here is what they never mention in those commercials. In 2025, a class action lawsuit was filed against Colgate-Palmolive, alleging their toothpaste products, including Colgate Total, contained dangerous levels of heavy metals. We are talking about lead, mercury, arsenic, and cadmium. These are not just industrial chemicals you hear about in factory settings. These are known neurotoxins that accumulate in your body over time, building up in your organs and bones with every brush. Independent laboratory testing found that 90% of 51 tested toothpaste brands contained lead. Colgate was right there on the list. For seniors already managing blood pressure medication, kidney issues, or heart conditions, even trace amounts of heavy metals can interfere with how your body processes medication and cause long-term organ damage. Your kidneys are already working hard. The last thing they need is additional toxic burden from your morning routine. The problems get significantly worse. In 2025, Brazil's National Health Surveillance Agency recorded an alarming 11,441 adverse reaction cases linked to Colgate Total Clean Mint toothpaste between July 2024 and June 2025. That is not a typo. Over 11,000 people reported serious issues. 40 of those cases were classified as severe. The symptoms included gum inflammation, persistent mouth pain, unusual tooth sensitivity, ulcers, canker sores, and allergic reactions that made brushing unbearable. The formula had been modified in July 2024. Brazilian authorities connected the spike in adverse events directly to that reformulation. The product was banned outright in Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico. Think about that for a moment. You are brushing twice a day with something that was banned in multiple countries because people's gums were literally falling apart. The same product is still sitting on shelves at Shoppers Drug Mart and Walmart across Canada. For years, Colgate Total also contained triclosan, a chemical classified as an endocrine disruptor. Research published in medical journals found that triclosan may interfere with thyroid hormones, disrupt immunity, and contribute to antibiotic resistance. Health Canada has expressed concerns about triclosan in consumer products for years. The company finally removed it from their Total formula, rebranding it as Colgate Total SF. But how many Canadians use that product for decades, unknowingly exposing themselves to a chemical that may have affected their thyroid function or weakened their immune system? The brand promises total protection. What they delivered was a tube full of heavy metals, a formula that triggered thousands of adverse reactions, and years of exposure to a banned chemical. Is that the kind of protection you want for your family? At number 8, we have Tom's of Maine. Tom's of Maine markets itself as the natural alternative, the wholesome choice, made with care in small batches. They use words like pure, simple, and natural right on the packaging. Parents trust it for their children. Seniors choose it because they think they are avoiding harsh chemicals. The green packaging and earthy branding make you feel like you are making a responsible choice. But that trust was shattered in November 2024. The FDA issued a warning letter to Tom's of Maine after an inspection revealed bacteria contamination in the water used for toothpaste production. This was not ordinary bacteria. Pseudomonas aeruginosa. That is a pathogen that can cause serious infections, especially in people with weakened immune systems. For seniors recovering from surgery, managing diabetes, or undergoing cancer treatment, this type of bacteria can be genuinely dangerous. The inspection found that approximately 400 complaints related to odor, color, and taste in their toothpaste products, including products marketed to children, were not investigated. 400 complaints from concerned consumers simply ignored, swept under the rug. The FDA cited significant violations of current good manufacturing practice regulations. They found that batches of toothpaste had been released based on retest results after initial contamination was detected, without proper justification. In plain language, they found something wrong, retested, until they got a better result, and shipped it anyway. That is not quality control. That is gambling with consumer health. The contamination story does not end there. In 2025, Tom's of Maine was named alongside Colgate in class action lawsuits alleging heavy metal contamination. Laboratory testing found that Tom's of Maine, Kids' natural fluoride-free toothpaste in silly strawberry flavor, contained unsafe levels of lead and arsenic. Let that sink in for a moment. A toothpaste marketed as natural and safe for children was allegedly contaminated with lead. The very product parents chose specifically to protect their children from chemicals may have been exposing them to neurotoxins. The lawsuit alleges that Colgate-Palmolive, which owns Tom's of Maine, failed to disclose that certain toothpaste products contain dangerous concentrations of heavy metals, while making claims like, "We test every batch of toothpaste we make." For seniors who chose Tom's because they wanted something gentler and cleaner, this is a betrayal of the worst kind. You trusted the natural label. You paid more because you thought you were getting something safer. You recommended it to friends and family. Instead, you may have been exposing yourself to neurotoxins and bacterial contamination. Now at number 7, we have Crest. Crest is one of the most recognized toothpaste brands in North America. It has been in medicine cabinets for generations. Your parents used it. Your grandparents used it. You probably grew up with that distinctive taste. But recognition does not mean safety. In May 2024, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton launched an investigation into Procter & Gamble, the maker of Crest, for marketing toothpaste products to children in ways that are misleading, deceptive, and dangerous. The investigation centered on how Crest's packaging and advertising encouraged parents and children to use far more fluoride toothpaste than is safe. Images on the box showed a full strip of toothpaste on the brush, implying that is the recommended amount. But health authorities like the Canadian Dental Association say children under 3 should only use a rice grain-sized smear, and children 3 to 6 should use no more than a pea-sized amount. A 2024 study published in Nature found that parents tend to overload toothbrushes by a factor of 6 to 7 times the recommended amount. With Crest's candy-like flavors and bright colors marketed directly to kids, the risk of swallowing too much fluoride skyrockets. Poison control centers across North America receive 10 to 15,000 calls annually due to excessive fluoride toothpaste consumption. Why does this matter for seniors? Because the same deceptive marketing practices apply to products you use, and because you may have grandchildren using these products in your home right now. In 2021, a class action lawsuit alleged that Crest gum and enamel repair toothpaste does not and cannot repair people's gums. The lawsuit claimed that the company used unfair and deceptive marketing practices to sell a product that simply does not deliver on its promises. They were selling hope in a tube that could never fulfill its claims. Another lawsuit targeted Crest's charcoal toothpaste line. The Canadian Dental Association has not approved any charcoal toothpastes. Studies have shown that charcoal can be too abrasive for enamel and gums, potentially wearing down the protective layer of your teeth and causing sensitivity. The trendy black paste may look impressive, but it could be damaging your teeth with every brush. Crest promises healthier gums, stronger enamel, and a brighter smile. But between the deceptive marketing, the lawsuits, and the lack of scientific backing for some of their specialty products, is this really the brand you want to trust? Number 6 is Sensodyne. Sensodyne has built its entire brand identity around being the toothpaste for sensitive teeth. Dentists recommend it. The packaging looks medical, professional, trustworthy. For seniors dealing with receding gums and tooth sensitivity, it seems like the obvious choice. You might even feel proud choosing the dentist-recommended option. In August 2025, the FDA issued a nationwide recall for over 46,000 tubes of Sensodyne Pronamel Active Shield toothpaste. The reason was a labeling mix-up. Fresh mint tubes were incorrectly labeled as Cool Mint Whitening. You might think that is a minor issue, but labeling errors point to quality control failures. And in manufacturing, where there is one failure, there are often others you have not found yet. If a company cannot get labels right, what else are they getting wrong? This was not Sensodyne's first problem with recalls, not by a long shot. Back in 2015, GlaxoSmithKline recalled nearly 4 million tubes of Sensodyne and Biotene toothpaste after consumers reported finding wood fragments inside the tubes. Wood fragments in your toothpaste. Imagine squeezing out your toothpaste and brushing wooden splinters into your gums. For seniors with already sensitive oral tissue, this could cause cuts, infections, and serious discomfort. The 2015 recall affected multiple varieties, including Sensodyne Repair and Protect and Sensodyne Complete. The toothpaste had been manufactured by a contractor and had been on the market for nearly 2 years before the recall was initiated. 2 years of potentially contaminated product sitting on store shelves in Canada and across North America. Laboratory testing also found Sensodyne products among those containing lead, arsenic, mercury, and cadmium. The heavy metal contamination that plagues the industry did not spare this premium brand. Sensodyne promises to soothe your sensitive teeth, but between the wood fragment contamination, the quality control failures, and the heavy metal concerns, there is a lot more to worry about than just sensitivity. If this is helping you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. At number 5, we find Aquafresh. Aquafresh is famous for its distinctive 3-striped toothpaste: red, white, and blue. It looks fun, it looks different, and it has been marketed as offering triple protection for decades. That striped ribbon is instantly recognizable on pharmacy shelves across Canada. But here is what the colorful marketing hides. Aquafresh is owned by Haleon, the same parent company as Sensodyne. When Haleon has quality control problems, they tend to affect multiple brands in their portfolio. The corporate culture that allows contamination in one product often allows it in others. The company that manages Aquafresh, Polident, and Biotene is the same one that had to recall nearly 4 million tubes of toothpaste due to wood fragment contamination. The same company that just had the Sensodyne labeling recall in 2025. Aquafresh also contains sodium lauryl sulfate, commonly known as SLS. This is a foaming agent that helps create that satisfying lather when you brush. But SLS is a known irritant that can cause mouth ulcers, gum inflammation, and oral mucosal desquamation, which is the shedding of cells from the inside of your mouth. For seniors already dealing with dry mouth, gum recession, or oral sensitivity, SLS can make these conditions significantly worse. Many people who suffer from frequent canker sores do not realize that SLS may be the culprit. It strips away the natural protective layers in the mouth, leaving the tissue more vulnerable to irritation and infection. The Canadian Dental Association has not granted its seal of approval to all Aquafresh products. While the brand promises triple protection, the reality is that you might be getting triple the risk. Here is something that keeps me up at night. Why does Health Canada allow ingredients in our toothpaste that are restricted in Europe? If these chemicals are not considered safe enough for Europeans, why are they safe enough for Canadians? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Number 4 is Hello products. Hello burst onto the oral care scene with colorful packaging, trendy marketing, and promises of being naturally friendly. They use ingredients like tea tree oil and activated charcoal and claim to be free from artificial sweeteners. The brand feels modern and conscious, like it was made by people who actually care about what goes into your body. Sounds great on paper. Hello was named as a defendant in the 2025 class action lawsuits targeting children's fluoride products. The lawsuits allege that Hello's fluoride rinses for kids, with flavors like strawberry and bubblegum, are marketed in ways that put children's health at risk. These products convey the false and misleading impression that the products are specially formulated to be safe, according to the legal filings. The bright colors, fruit flavors, and cartoon imagery encourage children to consume more than the recommended amount, increasing the risk of fluoride toxicity. The very design that makes kids want to use the product also makes them want to swallow it. In August 2023, Colgate-Palmolive, which had acquired Hello, announced a voluntary recall of Hello Wild Strawberry Fluoride toothpaste due to a serious labeling error. Tubes labeled as fluoride-free actually contained sodium fluoride. If you are a senior who specifically chose a fluoride-free toothpaste because of concerns about fluoride exposure, and you unknowingly used a product that actually contained fluoride, that is a fundamental betrayal of trust. You made a conscious health decision, and the company undermined it through carelessness. Hello promises to be different, cleaner, the conscious choice. But between the deceptive marketing to children and the labeling errors that put consumers at risk, the reality does not match the promise. Stick around. The solution comes at the very end, and it could change how you choose your toothpaste forever. We will show you exactly what to look for and which brands actually pass the safety tests. Coming up at number 3, Arm & Hammer. Arm & Hammer has been around forever. They built their brand on baking soda, and they have marketed their toothpaste as a natural, effective way to clean teeth and neutralize odors. The familiar orange box feels trustworthy and old-fashioned in the best way. But natural does not always mean safe. Independent laboratory testing found that Arm & Hammer toothpaste products contain detectable levels of lead and arsenic. A UK product test of Arm & Hammer Sensitive Pro Baking Soda Daily Toothpaste found both metals present. Arm & Hammer will tell you their products are safe. They will point to their low abrasivity scores and the Dental Association seals on some products. They will reference their long history and loyal customer base. But here is the problem. Health Canada and the FDA do not require toothpaste manufacturers to test for heavy metals or disclose their presence on labels. When independent laboratories find lead in toothpaste, there is no regulatory mechanism forcing the company to address it. No mandatory recall, no warning label, nothing. For seniors managing chronic conditions, even low levels of heavy metal exposure can compound over time. Lead accumulates in bones and organs. Arsenic affects the cardiovascular system. Mercury damages the nervous system and kidneys. You are brushing your teeth twice a day, every day, for decades. That constant exposure adds up. A little bit of lead today, a little bit tomorrow, year after year. The cumulative effect can be devastating. Arm & Hammer also uses sodium lauryl sulfate in many of their formulations. SLS can cause irritation, canker sores, and oral tissue damage, particularly in people with sensitive mouths. The brand promises a natural clean, but the hidden heavy metals and potential for oral irritation tell a different story. Number 2 on our list is Parodontax. Parodontax is marketed specifically for people with bleeding gums and gum disease. It is positioned as a specialized treatment for a serious condition. The packaging looks clinical. The messaging is direct and medical sounding. For seniors dealing with periodontal issues, it seems like a targeted solution. Finally, a toothpaste that takes your specific problem seriously. But Parodontax has its own troubling history. In 2017, the FDA initiated a Class 2 recall of Parodontax paste due to the possibility of the presence of metal in the product. Metal contamination in a toothpaste marketed for people with already damaged gums. The irony would be funny if it were not so dangerous. The recall was classified as Class 2, meaning the FDA determined it may cause temporary or reversible problems for individuals. For seniors with compromised immune systems, or those on blood thinners, even temporary problems from metal contamination could have serious consequences. Parodontax is owned by Haleon, the same parent company as Sensodyne and Aquafresh, the same company with the pattern of quality control issues we have already discussed. 3 different brands, same underlying problems. The product contains stannous fluoride, which can cause tooth staining in some users. It also has a distinctive taste that many people find unpleasant, often described as salty or metallic. But more importantly, if your gums are bleeding or inflamed, you need to see a dentist. Toothpaste is not a treatment for gum disease. It can help manage symptoms, but it cannot reverse periodontal damage. Relying on a special toothpaste instead of proper dental care could allow a treatable condition to become much worse. Parodontax promises to help stop bleeding gums, but a product that was recalled for metal contamination, made by a company with repeated quality control failures, might not be the specialized care your mouth needs. Ever notice how the same companies keep having recalls year after year, and yet their products are still on every shelf in every pharmacy? Do you think recalls are accidents, or just the ones they actually got caught on? Let me know what you think below. Finally, at number 1, Colgate Kids. We are finishing our countdown with Colgate Kids because the issues here represent everything wrong with the toothpaste industry, and they have real implications for the seniors who buy these products for their grandchildren. In January 2025, multiple class action lawsuits were filed against Colgate-Palmolive alleging that their children's toothpaste products contain fluoride levels 3 to 4 times higher than what is safe for children aged 3 to 6, and up to 8 to 10 times higher than safe levels for children under 3. The lawsuits allege that Colgate uses candy-like flavors, like Watermelon Burst, to encourage children to consume large amounts of toothpaste. The products are designed with bright colors, cartoon characters, and fruit imagery that make children want to eat the paste rather than spit it out. The taste is deliberately engineered to appeal to young palates. Here is the terrifying statistic. Swallowing just one full strip of toothpaste can cause nausea, stomach upset, and vomiting in toddlers. Ingesting 1/3 of a tube of Colgate's Watermelon Burst toothpaste could expose a toddler to enough fluoride to be fatal. 1/3 of a tube. That is it. That is all it takes. The FDA's required warnings on these products are often hidden behind promotional labels. Only the most diligent consumer will notice there is any information hidden beneath the back label, let alone information about the product being potentially poisonous if swallowed. The warnings that could save lives are deliberately obscured by marketing. The heavy metal contamination issue applies to Colgate Kids products as well. Laboratory testing found that Colgate Watermelon Burst toothpaste for kids tested positive for elevated levels of lead at 200 parts per billion and higher. Lead exposure in children is linked to lower IQ scores, behavioral problems, and developmental delays. The damage from childhood lead exposure can last a lifetime. And Colgate allegedly failed to inform the public of these potential health impacts. For seniors, this matters for two critical reasons. First, if you are buying toothpaste for grandchildren, you need to know the truth about what is in these products. Second, the same company making these products is making the toothpaste you use. If they are willing to cut corners on children's products, what does that say about the rest of their line? Colgate Kids promises fun, safe, effective cavity protection for children. But the lawsuits paint a picture of a company that prioritizes profit over protection, putting the most vulnerable consumers at risk. Now, after everything we have covered, you are probably wondering, is there anything safe to put on my toothbrush? The answer is yes. There are options that prioritize safety, transparency, and quality. Here are two recommendations that actually deliver on their promises. The first safe option is Boca Ella Mint Natural Toothpaste. Boca uses nanohydroxyapatite instead of fluoride as its primary active ingredient. Hydroxyapatite is a mineral that naturally occurs in your teeth. It helps remineralize enamel, reduce sensitivity, and protect against cavities without the risks associated with fluoride exposure. Japanese dentistry has used this ingredient for decades with excellent results. Boca is free from sodium lauryl sulfate, so you will not have to worry about oral irritation or canker sores. It is also free from artificial colors, flavors, and sweeteners. Most importantly, Boca has been transparent about their ingredient sourcing and has not been subject to the recalls, lawsuits, or quality control failures that plague the major brands we discussed today. For seniors looking for a gentle, effective toothpaste that will not interfere with medications or contribute to heavy metal accumulation, Boca is a solid choice. It is available through Canadian online retailers and some health food stores for around $20 to $25 Canadian per tube. The mint flavor is clean and not overwhelming, and the texture is smooth without being gritty. The second safe recommendation is Risewell Mineral Toothpaste. Risewell is another hydroxyapatite-based toothpaste that has earned praise from dentists and consumers across North America. It is formulated without fluoride, SLS, parabens, or artificial preservatives. The ingredient list is short and understandable. Risewell also uses clean sourcing practices and third-party testing to verify the purity of their ingredients. This is the kind of transparency that the major brands simply do not offer. When you buy Risewell, you know exactly what you are getting. For seniors with dry mouth, Risewell is particularly beneficial because it does not contain the harsh detergents that can strip moisture from oral tissue. It helps remineralize enamel while being gentle on sensitive gums. The brand costs more than drugstore options, typically around $25 to $30 Canadian per tube. But when you consider the potential health costs of heavy metal exposure, bacterial contamination, and chemical additives, the extra investment is worth it. Your health is not the place to cut corners. Both of these brands represent what the toothpaste industry should be: transparent, safe, and actually effective at protecting your teeth without putting your overall health at risk. Not all toothpaste is created equal. Some can put your health at risk without you ever knowing it. If this video opened your eyes to what is really hiding in your medicine cabinet, subscribe now. And if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.